In the news tonight, a deal signed making financial access to credit card services available to more individuals. The fire service wants businesses to give greater priority to safety. The prayer warriors are on a mission to make the world morally better. And in sports, Royals still in waiting for win number 1 in the 2025 CPL.
The headline news is brought to you by CARIFESTA 15, Caribbean Roots, Global Excellence.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, a multi-million Barbados dollar development investment between IDB Invest and Pace Digital was inked today. The financing will strengthen access to credit card services for individuals who don't have bank accounts in Barbados. It also aims to expand financial access to the underserviced segments of the Barbadian community. The signing took place at the Pace Digital office in Haggett Hall, and Trevor Thorpe was there.
Growth, progress and inclusion is how Managing Director at IDB Invest, Darrell White, described the finance initiative between the two entities. He called it a landmark occasion and a step towards reshaping the financial landscape of Barbados.
It's our first financing in local currency, under local law as well, mind you, in government in Barbados. I don't know. Oh, here we go. And bear in mind that it's not just a signing ceremony, it's a step. It's a step towards reshaping access to finance for the people who need it most and who could otherwise be left out. And quite often, those are the people who appreciate it most.
The IDB Invest head says the transaction is connected, highly responsive and innovative, and it is hoped that it would act as an inspiration to empower more Barbadians to participate fully in the economy.
The strong focus is on low and middle income individuals. And I've seen the challenge sometimes in these individuals having access to credit. These are the segments that quite often face barriers when they seek financial services. They have credit scoring that is pretty rigid, higher interest rates as well, but yet they are vital to the resilience and to the growth of the Barbadian economy.
Chief Executive Officer at Pace Digital, Alison Brown-Ellis, says securing the loan is in response to the demand of the cardholders.
Next year will be 10 years following our successful transition from a legacy retail card to a globally accepted credit card linked by an evolving digital payments platform. This shift has not only modernized our product suite, but it also fueled our year-on-year growth, which forms the basis of our relationship with IDB Invest today. We are honored that our cardholders continue to respond favorably to our products and services and that card usage has continued to show consistent growth.
Chairman and Director of Cave Shepherd and Company, Roger Cave, says the loan represents more than a financial investment, but a vote of confidence in Pace Digital.
This loan by IDB Invest will empower Pace Digital to accelerate its journey toward becoming a best-in-class player in the Barbados payments landscape, delivering reliable, secure, and innovative solutions across the financial services industry, particularly for the underserved segments of our population, who often face significant challenges in obtaining affordable credit card options.
The officials say the initiative means affordable and accessible credit card solutions are coming. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Brazil is a good alternative to those seeking a partner in trade, commerce and cooperation. That's according to senior lecturer in history at the University of the West Indies Cayfield campus, Professor Elaine Rocha. She adds her country is also a good partner for research in different areas in health. Professor Rocha says Brazil balances the power in the hemisphere with the United States.
In the past at least 30 years, Brazil is making an effort to open up and build a relationship, what we call the South-South, but we know there's not South-South because yes, Brazil is building good agreements and good relationships also with China, with India, with Mexico. So it's not only South-South, but when you say South-South, it's like south from what was the traditional, major economies in the world. So that's what we mean. And that I think the world is learning now that we need to spread our alternatives.
The Barbados Fire Service is calling on business owners to make safety a top priority in an effort to safeguard their operations and the lives of workers and patrons. This comes as inspections reveal progress, but also lingering challenges. Deanza Roberts tells us more.
The 2010 Campus Trent tragedy remains a painful reminder of what can go wrong when safety protocols are lacking. Deputy Chief Fire Officer Henderson Patrick says businesses have since made strides, particularly with new and refurbished properties. However, he warns that many older buildings, particularly in Bridgetown, still have just one entrance and exit.
We have seen improvements because there are businesses that have either refurbished, there are new entities that would have been put up, and each time there is a refurbishment or each time a new entity has been constructed, they have a tendency to be more compliant with what is required. So yes, we have seen improvements where now you can expect in almost every new construction persons with alarm systems and an appropriate amount of extinguishers and things of that nature.
The Deputy Chief says there are businesses that put their investment before safety, but he says they must be mindful and get familiar with the law.
The bottom line for persons who operate business is always to make as much money as they can, and if something doesn't happen, then I will make the most of that opportunity. It is only when something happens that I realize the magnitude of loss that can occur. So I would encourage business owners to recognize that it is important to first of all appreciate what the various pieces of legislation that we have in Barbados encourage business owners to do. The Safety and Health at Work legislation for sure makes provision for the occupier, the employer to have certain provisions and to have certain provisions in place. And there is also responsibility on the part of the employees.
Mr. Patrick's message to business owners is clear. Cutting corners can cost lives, property, and livelihoods. Deanza Roberts, CBC News.
Young people are at the center of Prayer Warriors International's new campaign dubbed Let Us Make This World Morally Better. As part of the campaign, the group will be printing T-shirts with the 10 Commandments on both sides, and they will be encouraging people to wear them on Fridays. Founder of Prayer Warriors International, Pastor Courtney Selman, says its 10 Commandments project aims to guide children back to respect and discipline and to guide the society back to the morals once held.
Our aim of the Let Us Make the World Morally Better initiative was born from a deep-seated concern for the lack of morals in our homes, communities, and other places. And sadly, even in the churches throughout the world at large. Our mission is to inspire individuals, businesses, schools, churches, and governments to embrace a shared commitment to ethical values and social responsibility.
Pastor Selman says they've written to world leaders and want to make this a global project, launching first in Barbados. With its November 7th launch date, the Prayer Warriors are hoping that people see the initiative as a movement for change.
By wearing the T-shirts every Friday and declaring it as Morally Transforming Dress Down Day, Morally Transforming Dress Down Day, caps and buttons will also be available. We've written to President Donald J. Trump, Dennis, of the United States of America, Pope Louis XIV, prime ministers, presidents, church heads, and others, soliciting their blessings and support.
Well, the project has received a thumbs up from Reverend Patrick Tannis. He says the initiative is timely, describing it as a moment for repentance. Reverend Tannis believes Barbados must return to its spiritual foundation if the country is to overcome the challenges facing families, communities, and the nation as a whole. He says the Let Us Make This World Morally Better is more than a campaign.
Something is happening in politics. Something is happening in our churches, right? Ministers may be failing. Ministers may be failing. People on the streets may be failing. But this is a kairos moment for Barbados where everyone is being called back to repentance. Amen. It does not matter what sins you committed. Even up to this morning, even up to last night, God is calling Barbadians, not Christians. Are you hearing me? Mm-hmm. God is calling Barbadians to a place of repentance. All of us. None of us are right. None of us are ready. Not one of us. What Pastor Selman is saying is that as a nation, what the Prime Minister is saying is as a nation, we have to turn back to God.
Well, now, remember the Barbadian folk song Millie Gone to Brazil? Well, we'll get an understanding of why she went just after this break. When the Michaelmas term begins on Monday, students of Wesley Hall Junior School will not be attending classes at the King Street St. Michael plant. In a press release, ministry officials note that the school was not included in the summer program, but had been scheduled for extensive refurbishments beginning in January 2026. However, following consultations with the principal and staff, it was agreed that the works could be accelerated to commence during the first term of the 2025-2026 school year. To facilitate this early start, the principal and staff have agreed to the use of alternative locations to ensure minimal disruption to teaching and learning. Classes 1 and 2 will be temporarily housed at the YMCA, while classes 3 and 4 will be accommodated at the White Park Wesleyan Holiness Church. The ministry deeply appreciates the cooperation and understanding of teachers, support of staff and parents during this transitional period. It says it looks forward to welcoming students and staff back to a revitalized Wesley Hall Junior facility in term 2 of the academic year 2025 to 2026. Senior lecturer in history at the University of the West Indies Cape Hill campus, Brazilian professor Elaine Rocha is set on telling the public why Millie went to Brazil. She has written a book chronicling that story. It is in its final stages and will be available next year. Professor Rocha was a guest on TV8's Morning Barbados.
It's a very kind of a sad story. It's a first introduction that I had to Barbados when I came here. Dr. Watson, Carl Watson, very good friend, somebody that opened his arms to me. He told me this story and showed me this song and everything, and I was caught up. So I'm being researching on this type of migration, but certain things about Millie always in the back of my mind. So at the end, examining our documentations and searches, I was sure that although people thought that the story was from the 1930s or 20s, I said, no. That story is earlier. So Millie never went to Brazil. She died in 1916. But the story is that probably her sister went to Brazil, and she was waiting for a letter from the sister. So she always in her mind, she said, okay, one day I'm going to Brazil.
As St. James continues with its activities for Regathering 2025, they're inviting all of Barbados to visit the island's west coast to experience what that parish has to offer. Planning Committee member of St. James on the Water, DeCarla Applewhite, says an unknown fact about St. James is that they have a rich cricketing heritage, which she describes as their strength.
People think of tourism And then we're also quite rural, we're quite agrarian, you know, everybody got some chickens, yard and otherwise. And sheep, cows, goats, you know, everybody has a little kitchen garden or stuff. But the thing is about St. James, it is very water oriented. And it is very cricket oriented. So when you ask me about cricket, we're doing beach cricket. Why are we doing beach cricket? You see in our schedule, we're going to see that we also are bringing back marble cricket. Yes. You know why? We have Desmond Haynes. We have Gordon Greenidge. We have Otis Gibson. You have my dad. Everybody in St. James played cricket, and it doesn't matter. You know, we had persons have gone to the national, international, county cricket. We have persons. The thing about St. James, it has lots of diaspora too. So even persons who would have moved away from Barbados and came back, even where they were playing cricket. So it's just a thing that everybody plays cricket.
The Chamberlain Bridge in Bridgetown will now be operating on a set schedule until further notice. According to the Barbados Port Inc., the bridge will be raised 3 times daily. In the first instance, it will be raised from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., then again from 10:45 a.m. to 1 p.m., and finally from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. During these times, the bridge will remain open to allow sailing vessels to pass through the careenage. After 6 p.m., it will stay closed until 5 a.m. This is to allow the port's engineering teams to work on resolving a mechanical issue with the motors which raise and lower the bridge. Author of Safe Space for My Wild Faith, Lauren Nichols, wants those seeking clarity on their faith to do so with confidence. She says she was very much in the faith and had a moment she wanted to go deeper, but her questions were not being answered where she was, and so she sought the answers needed.
In that way, I went on an exploratory journey to other faith bases as well too, and got more knowledge, and it actually brought me back deeper to my relationship with the Most High. I learned that faith has so many different looks and feels, and it's not that box that would have been prescribed for you, but really and truly it's in the little things. It can even be found in silence. Yeah, all of those things are spoken about in my book.
In tonight's business, we hear that a unique back-to-school initiative will take place in St. Thomas tomorrow, marking a collaborative effort between Williams Industries, Pharma Wellness International Incorporated, the Ebenezer Church of God, and L&M Bar in Melrose, St. Thomas. Clinical pharmacist Lennox Prescott tells the Business Report Barbados is currently facing a non-communicable disease health crisis, and the initiative aims to help give information to society and address some of the challenges for a number of people as they prepare to return to school. The clinical pharmacist says new guidelines are coming.
And as black people, we're born with a gene defect for sodium. We don't regulate the sodium properly as some other races do. So that's the thing we have to do. We've got to exercise. Our population, we still have nearly 70% of the people here who are overweight or obese. You can't have an excellent population in terms of healthcare and good numbers in terms of hypertension if we continue to have this large group of persons who are overweight and obese.
The health and wellness official says attention will be paid to blood pressure. Activities will begin at 8 a.m. at L&M Bar tomorrow, and manager Melvin Knight gave details of what's in store for the children.
Bags, books, pencils, erasers, whatever is necessary to make them comfortable for back to school.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power Inn. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Story back over to Damien for the second half in sports. Damien, all yours.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lisa. Barbadian horse trainer Safi Joseph Jr. edged Jose D'Angelo with a 3-win day to earn leading trainer honors for the 13th consecutive race meeting at Gulfstream Park. Joseph entered the final race day of the season with a 1-win lead, 55-54, and clinched the title with favorite Drama in race 3.
Good start for Drama, who's heading off for the early advantage. Soda has speed toward the inside. Tavery Much is going to work between horses. On her outside, Parlay Pauline with La Rodada in that second flight of runners. 3 back to Mystrial Wind, and the trailer is WinBet Only. In the run to the opening quarter, it's Drama who's working well off the inside and leads the field behind her. 4 of them line up behind her, including Tavery Much and La Rodada, outside Parlay Pauline. Soda got shuffled back. She's 5th now, 3 better than Mystrial Wind, and WinBet Only is far back. They drilled the quarter, 22-1. They rolled right along here, and Raylou's letting Drama strut her stuff. She's 3 furlongs from home and 2.5 on top. Now into second and asked for a little bit more is Rios on Tavery Much from the outside, La Rodada 3rd. Soda rebids to take 4th, then to the outside, Parlay Pauline with a 1/4 mile left to go. The leader is Drama. She went 46 seconds for a half mile. From the back, WinBet Only with an inside lanes running home very well. Tavery Much is still second for now. Outside La Rodada, they're an 1/8 of a mile from home. The leader is Drama. She's not home yet as WinBet Only is charging hard. Final 16th of a mile. Drama needs the line. Up into second, WinBet Only, but Drama's doing enough, and Drama will win it at odds on by 2.5. 2 for Raylou Gutierrez and Safi.
Well, that followed a victory with Genuine Gomo in race 1, and then Dan Donna gave Joseph his 3rd winner on the day with a victory in race 10. Joseph finished with 58 winners and more than $1.9 million in purse earnings during the 5-month Royal Palm Meet, which began April 3rd. Well, Barbados Conference Services Limited are the champions of the inaugural BHTA Adopt to School Futsal Tournament. Playing in the final at the Oasis, Barbados Conference Services Limited defeated Sandpiper Hotel 3-1. CBC's Anne Margaret Boyce reports.
The final showdown was a clash between Barbados Conference Services Limited in the Blue Tops and Sandpiper Hotel. Early stages in the contest, and that shot was not too far off the target. But the opening goal came here. Good skill from Derico King into Shane Codgerton. Decent finish. That's 1-0. We're still in the second half, and Barbados Conference Services Limited doubled their advantage. Ball over the top, and Kyle Papa Gibson takes it in his stride before firing past the keeper. 2-0 now, the score. Sandpiper, however, grabbed the goal back. Ray Don Ben with the impressive finish. Things a bit interesting. The comeback could be on, but it wasn't to be. Barbados Conference Services Limited snatched a 3rd. Guess who? Gibson again, unstoppable. 3-1, the final score. Barbados Conference Services Limited are the champions, defeating Sandpiper. Anne-Mark Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
Well, that's our news for tonight. On behalf of the entire team, thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.